gets nothing effect. Tabs that one taken away by Troy Hellman. It seems like this could be.
And we're back with another episode of the Overwatch League recap. Let's get ready to rumble. No, it's a talk show focusing on the Overwatch League. I am BlazzinBob, and I'm joined by Mel. How you doing, Mel?
I'm good. I'm
Doing
a little
good.
weirded out by the intro, but it's fine.
I just
We'll let
wanted
that one go.
I just wanted to try to do something different. I always open it up the exact same, so just thought I'd try something a little different. But we also have a returning guest, Ramses. How you doing, Ramses?
I'm doing pretty well. I think this is time number 3 on the show, if I'm counting correctly.
I think it is number 3. Ramses is the host on Push the Point podcast, a mashthosebuttons.com podcast. Should definitely check his podcast out and all the other great podcasts produced by our beloved Jaw.
Blessed be he.
Ramses, do you conveniently come on after Houston has a good week every time? I'm just wondering.
I think that because that happened last time, right? I came on right after. I came on after they beat San Francisco. Yeah, I mean it's just the luck of the draw, just how it works out. Once Bob reached out to me that we were going to be doing this, like, okay, cool. Then Mel and I just get to like gush about how excited we are about Houston for like 10 minutes at least.
Heck yeah.
Who would have thought Dante and Linkser would be a great DPS line?
Right?
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah. But so how have you been since the last time we talked to you?
I've been pretty good. We just recorded the episodes for, but we just recently celebrated 1 year of Push the Point. So 55 proper episodes, 60 actual like total releases, and we haven't missed a week, which I'm actually, for better or for worse, we've done it. We've managed to scrounge the depths of OWL content, even during the off season when literally nothing happens. So it's been a good time. Lots of growth, lots of progression, going from somebody else's house to finally doing it in my own house, from like a really crappy mic to like an okay mic. I have a decent internet connection finally. Like lots of growth here and there. So it's been good.
Yeah, it's
graduating
been
school, figuring stuff out.
Oh yeah, you graduated in December. Congrats.
Just in time for all this to happen.
Yeah, for lockdown.
Just in time to stay at home.
Yeah, it's been awesome to watch you grow, and not missing a week is amazing. It's extremely hard to do. I mean, it's extremely hard to do, especially with all the weeks that the Overwatch League took off, and you guys didn't even miss that, right?
No, we didn't. I think part of what helps is that we record on Sundays, so we get this kind of weird mix of like we're fresh after the games. We are like recapping all the news that happened from the week prior, and then sometimes just a little bit of the coming week news. Because most other Overwatch League podcasts record Monday night or Tuesday night.
Yep.
So we're in a weird spot, but it gives us kind of this nice point in time where we can get new stuff. And we'll go into balance patches sometimes depending on what's going on, or we'll talk about. I'm trying to think of like the lowest of what when we had nothing to talk about. No, because there's either like drama going on because it's Overwatch, so there has to be drama going on.
Well, Ed Labasco knows a ton about the contenders scene, so you can always fall to that too.
Labasco's actually back to doing Contenders China on Thursdays and Fridays. I know he and Kenobi rotate with LaFawn and Paulsable, and then with Necra and Rich Rad. So he's back to doing Contenders on a weekly basis as well, which is great.
Awesome. Yeah, we love Labasco here. We love you. We're excited to have you on to talk about the week that was week 10.
Before I forget, how about those Chiefs too? Am I right?
Chiefs, yeah, definitely. Let's hope that
we almost had a whole podcast about them. Let's just talk about that.
20 out of 22 starters coming back. So
yeah, hey, we're looking good.
Feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, once you get on a team with Patrick Mahomes, it's kind of like Tom Brady, 7 years ago, do you want to go anyplace else? No. Like you want to stay right there.
And
It's
he's
like
still
Reinforced last week was saying Chengdu should come to Kansas City, and I was like, if I could have Chengdu Hunters and the Chiefs, my life would be set.
on.
uh,
That would be great.
yep. So, tonight we're going to talk about Week 10. We're going to talk. There actually is some news, which is surprising because it's been so like dense or not dense, the opposite of dense lately with
Yes.
news and
And very quiet.
yeah, the coronavirus has destroyed many things. Overwatch League is definitely one of them. So we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about the next week because there's a little difference in game times. It's a little weird, but we're gonna talk
Mhm.
about that, and then we're gonna talk about the change to hero pools too, because it was a little different than I first uh, initially read it. I didn't actually understand it until later, so we're gonna talk about that. Also, wanted to give a shout out to Loki for kicking my butt on Tracer in the last game night, which I went to on Friday, which was really fun. So thanks for I absolutely worked his McCree, but then he jumped on Tracer, and I just tried to ignore him and kill his teammates, which I was doing that, but he was also killing my entire support backline. So shout out to Loki. We always like to start the show out by thanking our recap producer, Shazir. Thank you so much for your help with the show. And with that, let's jump right in. So, news. The Paris Eternal and other teams are going to be on a break until May. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, Mel?
Oh, I didn't mean to put Paris. I meant to put London. London
Oh,
Spitfire and other
I
teams
mean,
have
Close.
it's
announced.
like the same thing. London, Paris. No, it's actually not the same thing. We went to both places, and
It's very
London,
different.
awesome. Paris, mm,
Take it or leave it.
yeah, go there once. Definitely see the sights. I mean, it's gorgeous. I mean, the old castle where the kings lived, that's now the Louvre. Like that is like unreal. But the
Well,
people, they're not
it's
going to
very
like you
famous.
so much.
Yeah. So they talked about they relocated. So London specifically relocated to Seoul, South Korea, and now they put out a statement that says that they won't be returning to matches until at least May because of the coronavirus outbreak and stuff. So I guess I'm just wondering, how is it that they're not returning to matches, but Vancouver literally just went there and played 2 matches this week.
It might depend on where they're based because I know.
But
Van-
Vancouver's in Seoul too.
Well, and I don't remember these like 100% correctly, but I know that we're starting to see like little like re-swells as far as outbreaks go. So I think they might just still be getting their stuff ready. Like they're still getting their stuff set. Like they
Right?
might just because
I
we
mean, I
talked
get
about.
that, and I don't wanna put them on, like, this,
Mm,
I don't know, pedestal where it's like, "You should be playing, and why aren't you?" But to be fair, there are a lot of other teams playing who probably aren't 100% prepared. So you're just making the decision to give yourself more time to prepare, or maybe their players don't have good internet wherever they are, right? Because people are playing from home. They're not requiring players to gather at any stretch, right? They're playing from their home computers. So maybe that's just not something
So
they have
what?
available.
So what you're saying is you want them to give the true reasons, not the BS reason.
Right.
Loki actually made
Fair,
a good
yeah,
point
fair.
in the chat that I'm reading right now. It's that because Vancouver did leave earlier, and when you're going back into Korea, there's a mandatory 2-week quarantine period. Granted, I don't know how that would stop you from playing from where you're being quarantined, but
It would
um,
well, I mean, you probably I mean, it's probably like a hotel room type of like cell that you're probably given books, TV, but I doubt you're able to take all of your belongings in like a gaming PC.
mm,
Yeah, no.
That's a good
But they
point.
did get there around March 25th. So they've been there for at least 2 weeks. So I don't know when Vancouver got there. And again, I'm not saying there could be other things going on, but them
Vancouver.
and I think New York isn't prepared to play
Well,
yet.
Vancouver also like had to cancel their first match back. Remember, they were supposed to play the
Right.
Fuel, and then they
Yeah,
had to sub out.
thank God. Thank God.
I don't know.
Although
Thank
they've
God.
looked
They
like
kind
crap.
of,
Yeah, they've
yeah.
looked like crap. So that would have actually been let decay go.
Well, and New York being locked down, like the NYXL being locked down right now, makes a lot of sense since New York
Oh,
really is
yeah.
like the epicenter of everything right now.
Are they in New York though? Are they?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Oh
Yeah.
man, God, I feel bad for them. And our friends Deathblow and Blevins are in New York too. And I mean, New York has as many cases as the entire U.S.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's bad. It's bad.
so we'll see. I know because I was looking at it too. Like I was checking the like the standings, right? Because say what like there's been a lot of things to complain about with Overwatch League. Some of them warranted, a lot of them not warranted. The one thing I have a lot of gripes with is the way they do their standings online. Because I understand they're trying to put them in a power rankings way, but you're gonna tell me that it was like what the Philadelphia Fusion, who are 7-1, are ranked below the Seoul Dynasty, who are 2-0. Granted, I would say it's probably an accurate like power ranking, but that's not like because we have all these different amounts of games, it
I was gonna
really
say
puts
it's
them.
Yeah,
so hard.
losses. I mean, other other competitive things do that too. That like go for weeks at a time without like one loss is equal to like it doesn't. It no matter how many wins you have, if they aren't on there yet, then like it's not going to show up. But it is very confusing and very like it's so hard to judge now. Like seasons 1 and 2, like you were seeing every team play
Almost every week.
almost every week, and then there was a couple buys, but like now it's really really bizarre. Like we're just now getting fuel games once again, we're just now getting shock games once again, and it's definitely weird and hard to follow, impossible for fantasy. I mean, fantasy is just kind of a joke now unless you're playing daily leagues.
Well,
But to be
and
fair, like it should, I guess the power rankings and the rankings are going to be confusing anyways because of hero pools, right? So there's going to inevitably be teams that do better in certain hero pools than others. So even ranking them right now, like 120 is very difficult for any given week. It's not a given anymore that San Francisco will beat everybody, right? Which I think is good.
It is good. It's extremely hard to analyze. Extremely hard to
Right.
analyze.
I go back and forth because like initially I was super stoked on it, and there are moments when it's been good, but I think when you look at how different, like you see tweets from like Dogman and Hawk and even like Super on the Shock, where like it kind of leads to sloppy Overwatch a little bit, where
It does,
it,
but you see tweets from them when they lose and they didn't figure out the hero pool very well. You don't see those tweets when they come into a strong hero pool and dominate.
Yeah, it's
Hawk's
all
the only one
about
I think, but Hawk just
most of
says
the
that
time.
crap all the time.
Yeah, most of
Sorry,
the
Bob.
time it's excuses. I think like it's exactly what Mel said. Usually, if they win, they're like, "Yeah." If they lose, they're like, "Well, it was because of this," and we
Right.
knew
I
that would
just think
happen.
it's going to be messier Overwatch for the beginning of it, right? And then with all this like craziness and all the breaks and all the people doing it from home now, it's going to be crazy for a little bit longer than it should have been, right? But I do think they'll start to figure it out and teams will start to find their synergies and start to find their, go-to comps and their strengths. And I think that we will see even higher level Overwatch than we were seeing before. I mean, was it really fun to watch Mayhem play anyone last year? No, right? Like,
I mean, I
at
can
least
make
this
the
year it's kind of fun.
excuse that was it really fun to watch most of the goats meta. I mean, the teams that were really good at it was really fun. Like the Titans versus Shock in the stage 1 and stage 2 finals were awesome. Like that was great Overwatch, but it was pretty crappy to watch like half of the teams try to play goats when they just shouldn't have.
Houston
And
Right.
games were hard to watch last year for sure.
yeah, yeah.
100%.
And it's just like Hero Pools seems to be pushing people to try new things. It's more than just the Chengdu hunters jumping out of the box now. Like people are doing crazy stuff. That leads us into our next bit of news, which I don't know if is good or bad. Hero pools are uniting, and map pools are going away in regular ranked. I don't like that map pools are going away. I thought that, it was good to keep the pool there because it's just so hard to be ready for every single map every season. But
I think, though, to be fair, like map pools are great if you're scrimming a lot, right? Because you can scrim on specific maps and you can figure it out. But if you're just playing ranked, I think that map pools just make it a little bit more redundant, right? Than kind of varied. And I don't think you inevitably just get better at a map because you play it more. You get better at a map because you study it and then you practice on it. But I don't think you get better. It's like exposure doesn't cut it, you know?
But Paris is banned. Praise, praise
I mean,
Jeff.
that's great.
yeah, but
Paris,
what I was saying was map pools in regular ranked are no longer
yeah,
banned. But
yeah.
okay, so let's talk about so hero pools changed, and I did not realize this was the case. Like I got everything from the tweet except for the fact that they were going to put high level ranked play into the mix of hero pool, like the 10%, like it's not the Overwatch League. It's the Overwatch League combined with ranked of high level play. And they don't say what
And
high
contenders and open division.
yeah, and contenders and open division. And they don't say what high level play is. I mean, Diamond is the top 3 to 5% of everybody playing Overwatch. So are they saying Diamond and up are the ones they're watching, or are they just watching top 500, or are they just watching GM? Because top 500 is 0.05% of everybody playing the game. Like GM's like 1%. Masters is like the top, 2%. And then Diamond's in there, but you could make a case that the top 5% of players playing the game is high level play. So what are they basing it on?
I'm gonna guess they're doing GM or top 500. I don't think that they would do
I would hope they're doing
anything
that,
below.
but seeing the Ash at 20% usage makes me wonder.
Yeah,
I've
Surfer's been playing a lot of ranked. It's fine.
I've seen at least like looking at like streamer compilations. I've seen a little bit more Ash recently. Um,
Well, weren't all the other hit scans just banned?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think people
well,
just got used to it.
just imagine if Ash got banned. What would it do? Surefour couldn't play one map one map on defense against the Outlaws with Ash. Like
He played it twice.
that's just gonna get weird.
Someone made the point that the unfortunate part of that is that there's some chances that most of the heroes that people actually have fun playing, that people really enjoy playing, are going to be the ones that have the higher usage rates. Like the ones that, like your Tracers, your Reinhardts, like your Lucios, which
Hmm.
means May's never going to get banned again.
No,
um,
listen, everybody in rank needs to rally together and play May 100% of
uh,
games to really increase the pool here. Like let's
But nobody
take one
knows
for the team,
if they're
people.
in that category.
I don't care. Everybody do it at all ranks. It doesn't matter. Just play May for a week. Let's see if we
Uh,
can do it.
Well, and then the other problem that comes in. So when Custa first mentioned this weeks and weeks back, he wanted to be able to practice ranked with the current bans. Well, the problem that comes in now is if we stay on Saturday, Sunday matches, there's going to be 5 days of ranked without seeing pros play. And so your bans are going to be based majority on those 5 days of ranked prior to anybody seeing uh any pros play. So it just
Right,
it
but it
feels
depends on
really weird to
who's
me.
it depends on who they're taking that sample from though, right? Like, yes, it's going to be 5 days of not seeing the pros play, but it's going to be 5 days of watching what the
I guess you
top players can
I
come up
guess
with
you could watch pro
and what the
player
pros play.
streams like and see them practicing prior, I guess maybe.
Right. And contenders and open division. So like I think it's a good pool to kind of capture everything that was possible. And it might actually make people look outside of just what's happening in the Overwatch League and maybe look at some of these other comps and be like, hey, that's a better comp for us. You know what I mean?
Somebody made like I think the actual like announcement on the website made the point too that like it's going to be up to a certain like heroes that get played over a certain amount will be eligible, and then it's going to be randomly selected. Which and their quote was so that there's still an element of randomness to
Yes.
this, which that's kind of the big kicker is for a lot of people, and I'm nowhere near the top, even iota of like top players. A lot of people don't play Overwatch in ranked the same way that Overwatch League plays it, and you're gonna kind of see. I just worry about not worry. Worry is too much investment in it. I think about people. I don't. I think about the bands not necessarily matching up with how the game is right now.
Well, and that's what I thought too. Is just like ranked even in GM isn't anything like Overwatch League. I mean, it's just not. It's similar. It's a lot more similar than gold is or plat is to Overwatch League, but it's still not Overwatch League. I mean, many of the top 500 players aren't even starters in the Overwatch League. Like they're great at ladder, but they're not great at team play, and that's why I don't know, it's weird. Like if Ash
One
would have got banned this last week, it would have been just dumb.
one. How many times do you see one person with like 5 accounts as the top 5 and top 500?
Right.
Yep.
I know people have made the argument that because you have so many decaying accounts and you have so many people who like either one trick their way in or who are like like crowding the pool that aren't actually trying to be in there, maybe slimming it down to like top 200 would be a better kind of because you still get from again from what I've heard off of streams and from Twitter, like you still get some kind of clowns in the top 5, like in the low end of top 500.
Well, and you have to understand that the top 500, they're not all playing all at the same time. So if you watch streams, you'll see there'll be two top 500 players on like each team. And then the rest is GM. Sometimes even masters get into those games.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not like all the top 500 people are playing together against each other at all times. It's oftentimes sprinkled in GMs and masters. So, I just wish it went from the top down. And I
Maybe,
think
but the top down is really stubborn. Okay, the Overwatch League teams are really stubborn and they don't want to mix it up unless they have to, right?
they are cowards, man. Like a lot
So
of them are cowards.
let's kind of add in some other people to it, and I think it's the best of both worlds, right? Because you want the Overwatch League and ranked to be the same. That's what people want, okay?
Yeah,
So we're
but people
doing
want
that.
it.
Stop. I'm
All right,
talking.
go ahead.
But they're doing that, and then they're not banning any of the players that are getting played majority of the time in ranked, right? Just because they're not getting played in Overwatch League. And that's not fair either, right? So you look at both sides, they have to keep both player bases up. They have to keep people watching OWL, and they have to keep people playing the game because people playing the game recruits more people to watch OWL.
Yeah, well, the problem that I see with this is people watch the Overwatch League and they want to go play those comps. So you're going to have Saturday and Sunday to do that. Like you get on after the games, you want to play the comps they did in the Overwatch League and you have Saturday and Sunday to do that. And it's like if they really wanted to make it the best for the people, they would have the 5 days after be exactly what the Overwatch League played. And I make the case that the Overwatch League players don't need to play rank to get better. They just don't. They need to scrim to get better at the Overwatch League, not play ranked. It's so like it just sucks because we're not gonna be able to do that. If they would have,
But I feel like that's
2-week
them.
thing.
That's them though, focusing more on the Overwatch League players than it is on the ranked players, which I think is good. But they're focusing more on them, giving them practice time before their matches rather than letting everybody else play what Overwatch League played, right?
And I think that practice time, if they're practicing in ranked, they're wasting their effing time.
Well, if they're practicing
don't know.
anywhere, they're practicing in Valorant for a lot of them right now.
Yeah, lots of them. All the players that retired
Well,
right before
anybody who's a
Valorant beta hits.
Anybody who's a hit scan in Overwatch League right now is also at least dabbling with it a little bit.
Oh,
Definitely. And they
But I don't
probably
think that's
should.
bad. Like,
Yeah.
let people play other games. Like, you don't have to only
Exactly.
play one game your whole life. Like, I have a full-time job and I don't do my full-time job at night every night. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let them play
Yeah.
other things. Who cares?
Yeah, but we'll see. I don't know. I think that it would have been cooler. I don't know. I think this is definitely weird, but maybe I'll be wrong.
It's weird. I don't know if I love it, but I think it's a closer step in the right direction. I think it's more that the ban system in general is just kind of frustrating because there's no like it feels like it would be a little bit smoother if we actually gave the teams the individual bans. At
Or
least
if we,
Mm.
well, at that
only because I
point,
feel
I
like it
don't
would be
know.
more consistent gameplay at this like instead of just like crap
That's
we're
not
throwing
what we
stuff at the
want.
wall and see what
I
we
We don't want more consistent gameplay.
I feel like
That's
it
what I
should
want.
be. I feel like
It's
it should be
exciting.
2 weeks, and they should be banning 3 or 4 DPS. There's plenty of DPS in the game. Like that's what I think should happen. It should be it should be more, and then at that point, I'm cool with just completely random. Just completely random.
Or if they could subdivide it into like banning one hit scan, specifically one hit scan, and specifically one projectile. Even.
Yeah,
Just
maybe
so it would
No.
be like
maybe
I
that.
don't think that matters though. I really don't. There's a lot of double hit scan comps and there's a lot of double projectile comps and there's a lot of characters that don't fit into either. Like, where do you put Hanzo? Where do you put, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, the day and age where hit scan and is Widow and projectile is Junkrat and Pharah is gone, right? We have a lot of these like in between characters now.
Yeah.
Well, we
maybe.
live in a world now where Torbjorn is your primary tracer
It's
counter,
true.
which is funny.
True.
Not McCree, not Roadhog, Orb.
Yeah.
Yep.
We also live in a world where non-coward teams can play Genji and whoop ass.
Mm.
And where Haxall doesn't play this entire weekend.
Yep, we're talking about the Dallas Fuel. It made Genji work this week.
Bob-
Unbelievable.
Bob, I have to ask. Last week, that Valiant game, when Dreamer just walked into the middle of your entire team, just like hopped up on that platform, walked 5 steps into the middle of the field, and just shattered 5 of them in the middle of the game.
Uh-huh.
And then Decay's just running in there, inting on Tracer the entire time. I got invested. I was like, damn, I want to see this team win now.
Oh, yeah, but we'll get to talking about that. Mel, why don't you tell us, there's some, still don't have our points for,
Oh, I think we do actually. I think I read something about it. You can get points now or tokens.
It's a one-time thing. It's like you can get
Oh.
100 for like signing up with your email or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you want to talk about like, hey, like Overwatch League numbers were a little bit better than they have been the last couple of weeks, meaning they were 37,000 instead of 34,000, 35,000. But if you want to boost numbers, the easiest freaking way to do that is with drops. And it's surprising to me they still haven't done that yet.
Yeah, they're probably
Well,
waiting on YouTube.
I think, to be fair, YouTube's probably going through some crap right now because of the coronavirus and the increased like people watching YouTube all day long that they're trying to figure out a lot of other things. But on a bright note, guys, let's stop being Debbie Downers here. We've got the crunch time rewards. Okay, so there are going to be Cheez-Its and Pringles that have the Overwatch League logo on them at your store. Probably not at your store, but you know, if it's not toilet paper, there might be Cheez-Its and Pringles there, guys. So there's going to be Cheez-Its and Pringles, and if you get them, it'll tell you how to win, have a chance to win 250 official Overwatch League team jerseys. That's pretty cool. Like, if you're going to eat Cheez-Its and Pringles anyways, you might as well have a chance to win an Overwatch League jersey, right?
I mean, I think it'd be a good call, especially now that the jerseys are actually like of good quality this year.
I really want one.
Dude, what I found is you don't watch the Overwatch League site, you watch Fanatics site, because Fanatics does like 60% off sales like every couple weeks.
Are the new ones on Fanatics?
Yeah.
Mm.
They are on Fanatics. And
Loki
so
says they've been sold out of Pringles and Cheez-Its for 3 weeks at his site, at his store. That's a bummer.
One of those things that people just stockpile.
Why?
I don't know, dude.
Because you can, I guess. It's like anything you can stockpile. Why not? Like,
No,
oh
dude.
my god.
Cheez-Its have been sold out. Cheez-It Grooves have not been sold out. I
There you go.
guarantee you, I've seen a ton of Cheez-It Grooves.
That's because Cheez-It Grooves aren't good.
Oh yeah, dude.
How dare you?
Like
How
I was
dare you?
definitely
Cheez-It Grooves are bad. Have you had them?
I haven't
I
even
haven't,
tried
I
it. Have you tried them?
Yes, I've tried them. They're awful. Legit awful.
I've tried
Is it
like
a texture thing?
the cheese nips or whatever, but I haven't tried.
Yeah.
Grooves.
They taste like the cheese nips with grooves. Like it's not a good. It's not a good
Weird.
thing.
All right, well, I'm gonna buy some now.
But you can get regular Cheez-Its, and I think you can still get the.
They're out of
Overwatch
the
League code.
Parmesan Cheez-Its. That's what it is. They're probably out of all the Parmesan, like the good Cheez-Its.
No, the regular Cheez-Its, like regular Cheez-Its for the win. Let's just end
Yeah,
it
dude,
there.
Those are
Parmesan
definitely good.
Parmesan Cheez-Its. So good.
Yeah, so if you can brave the store, you might be able to win a jersey. And the jerseys are really cool. Like I was kind of a naysayer on them when they first showed them. But like the little zipper at the bottom, I don't know why it's completely useless, but opens up and has their team emblem
Super
there.
cool.
It is cool. It is. I don't know. Like I definitely want one now, but
It's for after you eat, you can unzip it so it's not as tight, right? It's like wearing stretchy pants, right? It's like glorious. And if you wear stretchy pants and the jersey, like come on, you could wear it to Thanksgiving. Be fine.
Oh,
See, the one
man.
thing with the jerseys for me is I have the difficulty of like, which one do I get? Because as much as I want a Houston one, the Chengdu one looks really nice. At least
Listen, I'll only buy Chengdu if they move to Kansas City. But
well, and the other thing that's weird is
maybe
that, like,
maybe I would.
a lot of the teams do the reverse of like they do like Dallas Cowboy style colors, where like the home quote unquote jerseys are the white ones, and then the away ones are their colors.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
So it's like I want to get the black Houston one, but it just says in like literally like a Microsoft Word font, like Houston, like across the front.
I want the black one. I'm gonna get it. That's the one I'm gonna get. The black Houston one.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till it goes on sale after season 3, and
it has zippers, Ramses.
I'm down. I'm gonna zip those all the way. I'm gonna add another. I'm gonna also.
You guys remember like the tearaway pants that they had?
snaps?
Yeah, when I was in high school, it's like, first of all, how frequently is that beneficial, right? And who wants to button up 100 buttons every time they take their pants off? Like, it's just ridiculous. I don't know what made me think of that.
You can take them off without unbuttoning them, though.
Yeah, but then what's the point of having tearaway pants?
Well, it's like you could get the pants that
There
have
is
like
a point.
The zippers around the knee.
There is a
you
point.
can separate them into shorts.
Oh my god!
All right, well let's move on to XZ returned to Korea with a neck injury.
Yeah,
Was he cocking his neck while he's playing too much or something?
I don't
Yeah,
know,
his
dude.
setup at home was just really rough. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
I mean, I'm getting some neck pain over the past like week or two. I think just from being hunched over too much. I think they
Work on
said
your
that he's.
posture.
I probably should. They said that he's They released the announcement that he's back in South Korea recovering. That they hope to see him back soon. Soon. If you're Paris, you're actually in a
Ooh,
really interesting position because now that stuff got delayed and you really have a while before you play again, they get more games with Sparkle on deck.
true.
Mm, that's true.
Oh
And
yeah, see, competitive integrity comes in once again.
Why?
Because if
Oh,
they're
because Sparkle gets to play
delaying,
sooner.
yeah, well, he
more
gets to
games.
play more games.
Yeah. But I think the biggest part of this is that this is the first we've heard of it, and XE hasn't been playing. And so I just wish teams, and to be fair, I don't know if they announced it on their Twitter or like something, but
They
I
just
wish,
did. Like it
yeah,
wasn't.
that's what I thought. I just wish teams were a little bit more transparent about what was going on and what injuries were happening or who was not going to play. Like, because you just think they're an idiot for not playing XE
Yeah,
on
you're
hit
like,
scan,
what are
right?
you
You're like,
doing? You
what's Paris doing? Like, why are they doing that? And
and
nobody
maybe
would
at
watch
least
any other game and think
okay.
that.
If they don't want to give that information out before the game, then it should be provided to the casters so that the casters can let the viewers at home understand why they're doing something. You know what I mean? Like, at least we need that, or we need to bring the post game press conferences back. I mean, like, where they actually would explain what they were thinking at the time and what they were trying to do. But I mean, of course, it's hard to do
I
that
mean,
right now, but like they
Well,
should.
they do
even
it for open
those,
division.
even those though,
They
even
do it for
those though, like
contenders.
they're not transparent during those press conferences either. Let's be real. I I just
True.
feel like it's a Overwatch League, I don't know, pattern that they announce somebody is injured or sick 2 weeks after we've all been saying WTF, where are they? Right?
Yeah, like
Like,
links are on the Outlaws.
It's why
right.
you can tell the
No,
league
we
is.
never got an answer to that. Okay. We got the
We
dream
got
answer of Blase is really good. We're
no. We got
like,
the. We got the links.
have you
answer of, like,
watched?
He's not
Have
really
you
good at
watched the game?
McCree. It's
Have you
not
watched the
McCree.
game?
Linkser had an answer, and it was, guys, I don't feel good right now. I don't think I can play that well. We were like, okay,
Uh,
and
no,
Mel and I were like,
Wixer
but
also
try
said,
anyway.
Wixer also said, I'm just not good.
Yeah,
Well, you're better than Blase, so I don't give a crap how good
yeah.
you are, Wixer.
Literally everyone in the league was better than Blase on McCree the first couple weeks.
And I'm glad
Everyone.
Blase has gotten to play other characters because he's been very good at different heroes. So, touche to him.
Yeah, dude,
But
his Doomfist, man. Whew.
It makes
yes,
you remember that, like, how many of these teams are run by kind of inexperienced people.
Yeah, like
Because there's a lot of
early 20s people that really don't understand what they
listen,
should be
dude.
doing.
we fired Flame. Right.
Oh, low jab,
Dude,
low
no,
jab.
say I love Flame. No, keep Flame.
I like Flame too, but
No,
there
you
was some problems.
you can read that interview where they were like how he did a whole not an op-ed, I don't know what it's called. He did like a whole article like pretty much talking about his entire experience about how they had little to no, like, we all knew they had little to no money during season 2, but literally were
Right.
like they were getting mystery checks where they didn't know where the money was coming from and they couldn't spend any of it because they didn't know, is
But
this
the
Immortals
problem
money
is
or
that I think Flame was put into a really bad position. I think given a different opportunity, he would have done much better, right?
Mhm.
But given the opportunity he had limited resources, limited money. He had to play 27 roles, wear 27 hats, and it didn't work for him, right? But it doesn't work for anybody. The problem is can you give up those hats? Can you start to redirect things in the way, or do you just need a fresh set of eyes, right? Do you need to go to another organization where you can just start off on a different level, right? Because he developed relationships with these players and with the team, and he developed ways that he thought were the best ways to do things. And
Well, and you can't argue with the fact that it was a shit show. Like
True.
Houston, the first couple seasons was just a joke. And
Ah,
Monte Cristo
no,
called
no.
him out last season saying, "Stop playing ghosts. You're never going to level up to the teams that are playing at the best." They came out, him and Jake, and said, "Well, you just don't understand. Like, you have to play the comp that is the best comp." And then they actually don't play it one time on accident because they accidentally left Dante in, and they win. And then Shanghai comes and just busts the goats meta wide open after they find out about 222. And it's just like, dude, no, this answer was here the entire time. What you were doing was wasting your time practicing a comp that you were never going to be as good as the other team at.
I mean, you don't know if that was him or the head coach, or that's the thing, is you don't know who's responsible for what on Houston. And I don't think you can blame Flame, but I think Flame needed to find a different opportunity. I think that he
Mhm.
was too deep into the Outlaws, into the mindset that they had been in for the last 2 seasons, and we needed some fresh eyes. And
What
I'm not saying anything bad about Flame, but that I think is a good move for him and for the Outlaws.
what I do know though is that with head coaches changing, with coaches changing, the decisions kept being made to just not do the right things. So who was making those decisions? My only guess is it was Flame.
You actually made a good point earlier, Bob, that I want to touch on with like pretty much teams and the league being run completely by 20 somethings who are still figuring out how to do this on the job.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still like we talked about like teams not announcing things that you and I would think are common knowledge. Like, hey, Icy's like in Korea with severe neck pain. Hey, we're New York and we can't play right now because like we're locked all the way down. It makes you think like you remember like a couple weeks ago when they said that before they said they were moving online, when they just said, hey, games are off. And the only way we knew there were online games is Pete Vlastelica in a subtweet be like, no, 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 wait, there's gonna be online games. We're still gonna play the games.
Yeah, it's it's just weird, and I hate to say it because people are gonna roast me for it, but you need to hire people that know about sports. Like, sports have been doing these types of things forever, since the Greeks. So, like, you need to hire people that know what your fans need to hear. You need at least one of those guys or gals in your organization that actually know what you should be doing for a competitive. I don't know what the word I'm trying to
Well,
look for is, but you get what I'm like what I'm saying. Like all these
mhm.
kids that are coming in and getting hired, they're lots of times ex pros. They're not guys that have ever managed people. Like they're wanting to be everybody's friend. And that's not really what's going to, get you results.
One, you don't even necessarily need longtime sports guys, but you like I think about Hex with like Chicago Huntsman, who like was the original guy, like who had Optic in the Outlaws. Like there are people like if in esports who like are on top of their crap and know what they're doing and like know, hey, if we're gonna send like what information people need to know about the team and what keeps people engaged. Instead of just, hey, we're Houston. What's the 5th SpongeBob video with a Houston logo lazily put on top of it that we can do for social media content this
Yeah,
Legit. Can we get a better marketing person? Like
or
maybe
let's
that's
do
been
a
our downfall.
let's let's do a YouTube video with the Houston Outlaws players playing putt putt.
I'll take Papa. It's literally just like, all right, we're gonna ask Jake and Bonnie what their favorite colors are. And
Okay,
Jake's just like,
listen. Yeah,
well,
no,
I mean,
that
like
one was
I like
bad.
green. I like green because like green's like, like the cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
No, their videos are bad, right? And nothing's worse than having to watch like an Dallas Fuel video because Bob watched it and seeing like the production of that and
Yeah,
then
the
being
Dallas
like, hey,
Fuel
let's
ones
see
are
if there's
good.
a Houston one. And then we turn on a Houston one, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why are we doing this? Like, why? Ugh.
Well, like
But
they have opportunities. Like freaking Boink went back to Chicago to shoot the first puck at a hockey game. Film that.
Yeah, well,
Film
and
that.
like
legit anything.
one of the things that the Dallas Fuel did is they were in Vegas, so they just took the opportunity and went to like not a skydiving thing, but a zip line, and they just got Harry Hook, Mickey, and what's his name though? Tank that used to play for him. But they got all three of them just screaming going down the zip line. I mean, and that's entertaining. You know, it's your player in a weird situation. You know, whereas miniature golf is just kind of boring. And then the talking about like favorite colors, yeah, like if you want to get into what the players think, want, and do, like just really get personal. You know, if you really want something good there, but
Get
if
some
not,
raw
then
emotion. That's what
yeah.
you need is raw emotion.
But
You
if
don't need
not,
scripted
something
content.
exciting.
You don't need this. You don't need that. You need raw emotion. You need to get to know these players. Like I will give it to NYXL. Their player intro videos and information about their players that they have out there is awesome.
Crushed it.
Top tier,
Yeah,
right?
spot on.
I think Dallas has done some really good videos. I think Houston has done zero, but that's fine. Whatever. We
Houston
still
did
have a
an
cool
okay
team.
like whatever their series was at the beginning of like season 1, the long form one. It was
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's okay.
It makes me
Yeah.
think of like it's just it's frustrating.
Well, I know when I used to do player interviews when we had when we would go to the games in LA or when we had our on-site guy in LA, it was super helpful when I would look up an NYXL player because I could find out so much information on him from their little intro videos and be like, oh, let's ask him about this, right? Like, and it's like entertaining stuff, not just like I went to school here. The first car I drove was this. You
Well,
like who
and the
cares?
problem, you know, and after interviewing tons of players and editing tons of interviews that Brick did for us on site, you just find out lots of the players are just real boring. You know, they're not charismatic people like Jake or like Surefour or, you know, even charismatic without talking like Bumper and, uh, you know, like most
Listen,
of
if I
them
could
just
interview
don't
Mickey
have.
every day, I would.
Yeah.
Because he's like the cutest person on the face of the earth.
I still remember the Dallas home game last year, and Mickey just kept telling me I was crying when I had something in my eye. I was like, dude, I'm not crying. He's like, oh, you crying, man? You crying? Is it okay? You okay?
I think you're
Do you need
crying.
hug? Do you need hug? I was like, dude, I'm not crying.
I think Mickey walked into one of our interviews too and was like, hey, oh, you
yeah,
and me.
yeah.
Okay.
It was when I was
It's
interviewing
time.
AKM. Yeah, that was the same night I got to watch. I got to watch the Night King meet his demise with almost the entirety of the Dallas Fuel. That was a fun night.
Dude, you know what they should do? You know who's playing Overwatch a lot right now? Luka Doncic, who plays for the Dallas Mavericks. You know who else is a Dallas team? The Dallas Fuel. It feels like it writes itself. Like
That's true.
Granted,
If
they can't go
I
see
know
it, but-
Hastro, he's already reached out and said, "Hey, would you like to come tour our facilities?" Because Fuel does have one of the nicest.
What is he
setups.
playing?
He's playing Torb.
Okay, he should have a
Build him
Torb
up,
match
bring
off
come down
between him and like Decay or something.
I'm on
Doa.
fire.
Probably Doa. But yeah, okay, let's move on.
Yes, let's talk. Let's talk about some games. Let's talk about the week that was week 10. I'm assuming you guys want to talk about Houston first, since they got 2 wins in 1 week. 2 wins in 1 week. Houston, 2 wins in 1 week.
I think I was telling Lobo, it's been like I think a year and a half since we've gotten 2 wins in a row.
I mean, were you literally Sunday just singing Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Only Sunday after the second game,
After the
because
second game.
during the second game, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my
It was a
god. I was like,
classic
I'm gonna have a
Houston
heart
like-
attack, die.
It was a classic Houston game of like, are we really gonna throw this? Are we really gonna throw this right now?
Dude,
Like,
you guys looked like crap against the Defiant for two games, and it was just like, well, Mel, you know, you
and then
got
they
your
remember-
you win against Boston, the worst team in the league.
Then they remembered, oh yeah, and then they just like they
Oh yeah, we know how to play this game.
Well,
My
and,
is
bad.
ridiculous at Tracer.
well, and I wonder if so there was a whole bunch of problems prior to the
Yes.
match starting. They actually started 30 minutes later, roughly 30 minutes late, and there were rolling blackouts in Houston. So I wonder if possibly they were having issues with lag because the game
Yeah,
was a
let's go with
little
that.
hard to watch.
Let's go with that.
Because I mean, the entire game was laggy on stream, so I don't know if it was laggy in the game for them, but it was definitely laggy on stream for us.
Yeah, it was bad, but I think, to be fair, I think Toronto is a good opponent, and I think that Toronto had us figured out, and I think we changed things up at halftime. If you look at the match, the just communication was so much better. Like, there were so many times in those first two maps that we just couldn't finish somebody off. Like, there would be 3 people on the team down to 25% health, and then they'd all get back to full health before we started killing anybody else, right? Like, I just think that Houston struggled to get it together, but then they got it together, and it was good to see them actually power through and come back down 0-2, because the Houston before would have just been like, yep, we lost. You know
Well,
what I
and
mean?
Well, and you
I
could look
appreciate-
at the Defiant as like one of the lower teams just because of record, but honestly, I don't think they are. I think they're a team
I-
that has a ton of talent that just hasn't gotten everything put together yet.
I think honestly, even though we've beaten them the last 2 times, I think we kind of match up with Defiant very well. I think they're probably like near our equal, or like we might be a tiny bit better. Just because we know there's a lot of individual talent on that team, and you have you have some hard carries on Defiant, just like you do with Houston. But sometimes it just all kind of gets messy and falls apart.
I will say, Surefour on Defiant, I was impressed with the Ash play. Like he did, like one of the defenses on, was it Numbani? He like uses the shotgun to shoot himself up, so he could throw Bob right in the doorway, and then he lands back on the same place he like jumped up from. Like it was a really
This is what I'm telling you. The
impressive
reason
skills.
Ash was in the pool is because Surefour has been playing him and ranked the entire time. But no, I think you have to look at too, though. They're a good team. I think Houston's a good team. You saw, first of all, can we just let Houston go first on every 2CP or what is the hybrid maps? Because the amount of times that we waste a ton of time just stopping them at like second or third point and then not getting first point, like we could have
Yep.
just already been over with this. Like,
Bro,
No, my favorite
Ah.
Houston move is when they full hold point one
and then they can't get
still
a check.
don't win.
Yep.
And still
Yeah.
don't win. I
I
call
know.
it pulling a Houston.
I have
Yeah.
nightmares of Houston going quad tank season 1 and
It's
like
awful.
stopping
Awful.
New York point 1 and then not even being able to cap point 1.
I can't even. But who was it? Musha Beef sent out a tweet and said, I'm curious, LS fans, are you feeling good about these wins or were you expecting it and these were must win? And I was like, you don't simply expect anything as a
No.
Houston Outlaws fan. Like,
If anything,
That's
you
not a
expect
thing.
to win.
even when I think they're doing really well, I don't expect them to win. I hope
No.
they win.
Being a Houston fan just feels like a continuous game of just like, okay, let's hope they don't screw this up. Let's hope they don't screw this up. Let's hope they don't screw it up.
It's very similar to being a Chiefs fan for the last 20 years.
Or Dallas.
until last year.
Well, and that Boston game too, just to mention it. Boston like ties it at the half, and it was just like, oh my gosh, are we really
Yeah.
about to get swept by Boston? And
Right. I was like,
they
if we
were
lose to Boston,
so I've had this theory that unfortunately I don't think fusions and color hex have kind of kept up the same luster they had in season 2, where they had good moments. They were still rough, but they had these good moments. It just feels like that whole team is lost. And like right now, it's just Jerry trying to drag them on his back the entire time.
which
And
doesn't do anybody
Jerry-
any good, right? Because Jerry's trying to carry and then he's making mistakes and putting himself in bad positions because he's trying to carry and make the big play. And I think Boston's just a hot mess. Like Boston can
I don't think it's the DPS line on Boston that's the problem. I think it's the I think it's the tank line.
I think it's the
And-
whole line. I think
well,
it's
I mean,
everybody.
and like Color Hex, when I think about Color Hex, all I can think is he had a good Doomfist. That's all I can think of when I just
I think he
think
has a
of
good
him.
Farah. I think he has a good
His Farah, Genji, and Widow are pretty good. He's just playing
Yeah.
main not very well.
Yeah, and I mean Farah isn't the best at the moment, but boy, some teams have made her work. Very
And
few,
Bruceton,
minimally.
very few.
Bruceton is a Sigma one trick. And
Dante did not make her work, but that's fine. We won't talk about Numbani.
yeah,
But I do
Don-
think that these are two games that Houston had to win. They
Yes.
had to win against Boston, 100%. They had to. Like that wasn't a question. And the Toronto one could have gone either way, but them winning made them put them in a different psychological tier, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because I think they would have been trying to bring it back if they hadn't. So I'm glad they won both.
did you guys stay up late for the Chinese games, or did you wake up early for the Chinese?
I was up one of the nights late and saw one of the games, but I did watch some of the recaps after it. Actually, guys, if you're unable to catch the games, the Overwatch League has done a really good job of putting like 15-minute, like 12 to 15-minute recaps of each game, and they're actually really, really good. So you should check those out. I mean, you have
Well,
to
and some-
like they're not something you can watch in the background because
You have to actually focus.
yeah, you have to focus because it will cut to there's nothing telling you, hey, this just happened. You just have to keep watching it as if you're like in game. But if you watch it intently, like you can get a lot of what happened in the game. They're doing a really good job of putting the big plays in.
Well, and even like people complain about the viewership rates, but I'll be 100% honest. I can't watch all the games live.
No.
I don't. And the YouTube numbers reflect that. Like typically, most of the games are over 100,000 views, like within a day.
Yeah,
For
and I
sure.
mean, and we're getting 30 to 40 live viewers, and all last year it was 80.
Live viewers on YouTube. Like
Yeah.
that's what I keep pointing out to people is like that's live viewers on YouTube. We don't know who is watching it on
MLB, but
MLG.
we didn't know that.
I don't think
before.
MLG is still going, actually.
it is.
Huh.
Wait.
I thought I heard opposite.
Oh,
But
okay. Well, it was a few weeks ago.
Either way,
I don't know if like it recently got canceled,
what
but
I'm pointing out is you can't look to YouTube and Twitch and make the direct comparison until they give drops. Because a ton of, I mean, Ja logged on 2 different computers to get drops for 2 different accounts. And how many people would do that?
But Bob, everything will be fine. There will be no technical difficulties if it was on Twitch.
oh yeah, because Twitch is a much better platform.
But
Come on,
Bob,
people.
Yeah, right.
well,
No.
that's
Yeah,
why I think it's
it's-
so funny. People are so butthurt about it, and they refuse to watch it on YouTube, acting like they don't spend hours on YouTube every day anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
No. I know. I get it.
But hey, we're talking about games here.
Okay, I know. That's what I was going back to.
So-
I wanted to talk about the Chinese games because
Well,
I
why
love
the
Chengdu.
Chinese games.
that's what Ramsey's brought up. So I was
Alright.
going to go into my Chengdu love.
You do you.
Jimu's a freak.
I love Chengdu more than anything. But can we talk about the Titans? Like, what happened? Did they just like
Eichenwald Bridge happened, Mel.
Get
Since the
jet
dawn of
lagged and
time.
like die? Like what?
The Titans aren't looking good. They are
Since
not
the
looking
dawn of
good at
time.
all.
There are two weaknesses for the Titans: odd numbered seasons and Eichenwald Bridge.
And
Like,
are we about to get to the point that Fisher implodes?
This is what I'm talking about. They
We're
only
not
have
gonna
one main
know.
tank.
we're not gonna know if he implodes. All of a sudden, we're just gonna be like, man, why is Hacksaw playing main tank? That's where no, it's not gonna be. No, it's not gonna be Hacksaw.
No.
It's gonna be Jaehong back on the
Right?
monkey.
It'll be Jaehong, or even better, it'll be Smurf. Or not Smurf, Stitch.
Oh,
Right?
gosh.
I just want to see itty bitty bitty Stitch play Brian
Man,
Hurt.
I'll take
Like, that's
Rio
just what I
J.
wanna see.
Kong back. I mean, Rio J. Kong was a thing.
Oh yeah.
I
He
like
was slightly a thing. I don't
well,
know if we
that's
can
it's part of the argument people that I kind of have with hero pools is that we know these guys are really good, but you can make the argument like they're good at a couple select comps and running a couple select things very well like a machine. And if it comes to something that's a little bit more chaotic and frenetic, like the current hero pool is, they really need that cohesion. And especially when you've kicked your captain out and you're being quarantined and then moving back to Korea and like everything's
Fisher's
all
like, I don't want to
chaotic.
play Orisa. Don't put me on Orisa. That's not what I signed up for.
And Hacksaw was gone all weekend too, which was weird because he was on Twitter, like he was tweeting at people.
Maybe he has a sore neck. Who
Maybe.
knows?
We'll find out in 2 weeks.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
We'll
don't
keep
know.
you
It's
posted, guys.
weird. But one thing we can agree on with the Chinese teams is that Shanghai is above and beyond
Killing
all
it.
of them.
Yeah.
Killing it. Yeah, I mean the others kind of like flip flop back and forth. Like Chengdu will beat you, you'll beat Spark, like whatever. But Shanghai is just like consistently in all the hero pools that they played in, killing it.
All-star team. I mean, every single person on the team so far has played crazy well.
Which is super cool for Shanghai, especially, I think.
Yep.
All right, Bob, do you want to talk about Dallas?
Let's talk about the boys in blue, your Dallas Fuel. I'm pretty
Love Your
excited
Dallas
about
one.
this.
Your Dallas Fuel.
The meta-breaking Dallas Fuel.
Oh my
Uber
God.
upset me when
Can you imagine if you said that last year? The meta breaking Dallas Fuel?
Well, but if I said it season 1, stage 4, I would have been correct then too. Because Mickey showed everybody that Brig was the way to play. But unfortunately, that turned into really bad things for season 2. Thanks, Goats team.
So Uber upset you.
So Uber upset me when he was, and this is rare because Uber can almost not do any wrong in my eyes. I mean, I love this man every time I'm at one of the events. Like I hang with him. Like, I mean, he literally is the Overwatch League, in my opinion. But when he said that San Francisco is the Western Chengdu Hunters, I wanted to be like, what? Just because they played ball on Control? Are you kidding me right now? Like, the Chengdu Hunters played all kinds of weird stuff. It wasn't just ball. Like, it was them playing Pharah into Goats and nobody else was. Which is
If
why
anything,
I thought he should have said the Dallas Fuel are the new Western Chengdu Hunters because they'll just play Tracer into whatever.
To be
Dick-
fair, he said it during the control map because they were playing ball, and I don't think he casted the Dallas game.
No, he didn't.
So,
See,
Stop.
like
shitting on Uber.
Dallas is funny because it's almost like we're watching Effect come back to life in Decay's body because Decay is literally just like, whatever. What's my one carry hero?
Effect!
What's my carry hero? I will go in. I will drag this team on my back. Like,
Oh, dude. Yes, I
What?
mean, and like it was hilarious because last week they played Tracer into what everybody said you just shouldn't play Tracer into,
it was
and he
Reaper
just
Torb.
hard carried,
It was
hard
Reaper
carried,
Torb.
like
It was Valiant.
and
It was Reaper Torb.
but like we've been getting on teams forever to like play to your team's strengths. Like play to your players' strengths. And Dallas is doing that. And then Dallas this week against Washington, it looked like an NFL team taking on a college team. I mean,
So
Washington just was snake bit. I mean, they came out, Decay played freaking Genji on control and still freaking won. Like he switched
Yeah,
off
but
it.
Genji did not look good. Let's be fair.
No,
Genji did not look
he
good.
didn't look good the first on control, what do you call it? Map.
no.
So like he didn't look good on the first map he tried to play, but the second one he looked freaking awesome. I mean, he looked great. And then they play Farah on Numbani and just I mean, Washington was just getting destroyed.
And Washington's kind of settled back towards the bottom of the league, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I like
Where,
a lot
like-
of those players.
Dude, I'm waiting for the aim god freak out, which bums me out because I love the guy. But like Washington and Fuel to me this weekend seemed like a perfect matchup as far as like these are two teams I think we would, at least at the beginning of the match, consider pretty even.
I thought it
least-
would be a good game. I mean, you have Corey, you have Decay. I mean, really good. And Doa, I actually last week everybody praised Doa, but I was like, like Decay was hard carrying. Doa was doing okay. And then this week Doa just seems like he's got his confidence now. He came out of his shell and he was just rocking.
But like I
Also-
pointed out last week, Doa was on characters that were not flashy. So Decay was doing all the flashy work, but Doa was very capably doing his job, which was not to be flashy, which was not to get out of position, which was to be the person that nobody talked about, right? Because that's what the other DPS needed to do to allow Decay to pop off like a crazy person, right?
And having Trill in as like your specific Reinhardt player too helps because I think he looks way better on Ryan right
Well,
now than
yeah, but
obviously
I
has
mean,
been looking.
they only played Trill on the control map. Like they played oh my gosh, why am I blanking on our Diva 1 trick?
Note.
Note. Yeah, they played Note, but Note can play a pretty good Orisa too. And like I couldn't believe like I thought after 2-0 start that Washington would come back and it would look somewhat okay, but I mean, it was a stomping. And then everybody like all the casters at the desk gave Washington shit about the C9 on Numbani at the very end, but it really was a moot point because even if they hadn't C9'd, they still would have lost by 10 meters at the end of the
Yes.
day.
But how do you let an Orisa C9 you out of everything?
Dude,
it wasn't even like a
Gibsu, okay, who
It's just the principle
okay,
behind it. It
who was
doesn't
it?
matter if they win or lose. It's just the principle
Washington's-
behind you. Don't get off the point.
Washington's Orisa player. I watched it over. Washington's Orisa player was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna go over here and try and get this kill." And then Gamsu was like, going to follow him. Then you could just see the light bulb go off in Gamsu's head. He just backs up, gets right behind the card. He's like, "I'm just gonna run the card in." And then May on Washington's side tried to jump in and ice block on the point, but they were too late. But it really
It's
didn't
like maybe
matter.
they didn't see the ginormous Orisa standing there. Like
Even if the C9 hadn't have happened, Dallas would have still won with how far Washington pushed it because they would have been 10 meters behind where the C9 started.
you don't know that.
I
They could have
I do know exactly
they could have
that.
killed everybody after they didn't C9 though.
But
I-
it wouldn't have mattered. The card had already pushed to 10 meters before end of point, and they were 20 meters before end of point as far as Washington pushed it. So the C9 was sad, but it was a moot point.
Mhm.
I think we can all another moot point would be that we can all agree Philadelphia is probably a top 3 team at this point.
Really? You think?
I think
Yeah,
it
I mean,
goes.
they beat Paris and Atlanta. Like,
I think it goes Seoul, and then you can make an argument for the Shock, but I don't like love putting them at
no.
number 2.
No, you
I think it
can't.
goes Seoul, and then maybe Shanghai, and then Philly.
I think I think Fusion's number one. I don't think I've seen
Mm,
enough
We've seen
from
2 Seoul
Seoul.
games.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen enough from Seoul to say that they're number one. I say Fusion's number one.
the problem with Shanghai is that Shanghai has only played a subset of teams.
Competitive integrity.
I also wonder if that's what messed up the Titans this week, is because they'd probably been scrimming against the Western teams beforehand, right? And yeah, since they've been in Korea, they've been scrimming there, but I wonder if their mindset was just more towards the Western team's mentality. Then they go up against the Charge and Chengdu, and they're like, "What's happening right now? What are these comps? What are they doing to me?" But I think Philly is a top team. I think Paris is doing very well. I think Atlanta is also doing very well. And then beating them both this week shows me, one, that they are very good at this meta, though. I think they've shown us that they're very good at the double tank May types of strats. And I don't know that they are as good at other compositions. I think if they went Doomfist Dive against Houston, I think Houston would give them a run for their money.
As did the Defiant. The
Right.
Defiant almost came back and uh reverse swept them early on in the season using dive.
I'm also happy we get to see Fury back in on the Orisa, which is fun.
I don't think anybody on Orissa's fun. I think Orissa should be deleted.
I'm just happy to see Fury. I'll take.
I had to play Orissa at game night and I was just like, God. Although I did suck 4 people into the well on Ilios, which was pretty fun.
You guys, when Orisa first came out, there was like I played her like 4 or 5 times before I realized you had to click again to make your suck work. Your little like ball suck thing. Like I kept like throwing it out and I was like, I don't understand why I'm not like sucking anybody. And I think it was probably iPlay. It was like, you need to push it again, Melissa. And I was like, oh. And then I did that and I was like,
man.
oh, I see. Okay.
So, okay. San Francisco.
They're
Do you
back.
guys really think
Are they?
that are they? Or I mean, it felt good to see OG eat a little humble pie after standing on his Dallas Fuel jersey, which
Oh, come on.
dude,
I loved
I
it.
like
I loved it.
like I said last week, I think OG's just making a bad joke. I don't think he actually is a dick. Like I've met him many times. I've hung out with him. Like he's a nice dude. I feel like
That's all
he was
I think he
making a
was
joke and it just was in bad. You know, like I've made bad jokes many times, especially in my
Never.
20s.
Never. Bob.
Especially my 20s. Like, I mean, just really bad
Have you
ones, you know?
though?
Yeah, like
I-
just non-tasteful jokes. And I think that's what it was. But the gladiators didn't look like the gladiators from the past few games.
Are you talking Gladiators didn't look good, or are you talking Shock did look good? Because those are two separate things.
I don't think Shock looked good. I think they beat Gladiators. Gladiators looked really bad. Like OG, I can't tell you, OG is a shatter king. He missed so many shatters in that game, I couldn't even count them. And some of the shatters, he was at like 5 health, and his entire team was dead.
Yeah.
And that's when you go for it, because you have to be. We don't accept cowards in this game, Bob. We
No,
only-
that's when you save it for the next team fight. That's when you just go ahead and die or jump off and don't give the other team more ult. Like, it was like he was trying too hard, which
Well,
I
and that's
saw a
been
lot from him last year on the
yeah.
Dallas Fuel. It's what I've coined as the Muma syndrome. Like you feel like your team's not, pushing, and all of a sudden you try to do way too much as a Reinhardt.
It hurts, but it's true. I think so. I think Shock are back on a resurgence, but I agree. I don't think they're like top. I'm amending my stance. I don't think that they're like a top team, but I would say they're probably back in the top 40% of teams again. Where
Dude, I would definitely give him top 6.
now
Like,
that they have they're being consistent with their lineups at least, where we're seeing ons come in on control maps
dude,
consistently.
Ons. Wow,
The tank
right?
lineup is like the same, or at least there's a reason why they're switching instead of like, all right, it's Smurf Choi. Now it's Super Smurf. Now it's Super Sinatra. Now it's Sinatra Choi. Like there's a reason for everything now. It feels like they're back at maybe they're getting back to the groove they were in before. Maybe
Yeah,
not to the same strength.
I think they're definitely like a top team. I just don't think they're number 1 or number 2. I
Mhm.
really think I I really think that the Fusion is number 1. Jury's still out on Seoul, but wow, they have a lot of upside and maybe might be the number 1 team. It's just with 2 games, I
Soul
just
hasn't
can't
lost a
say
game.
that. Yeah.
Soul's undefeated.
But with two games out of what? The Fusion are 7-1 or seven and
Yeah,
two, something like that. Like that's
7-1. Yeah.
that's a lot more games to judge. So once Seoul plays more, I can say that, but I don't think that San Francisco is as good as they were, and it's just gonna be hard to tell.
I don't think San Francisco is as good as they were because they don't have the time to perfect a comp, right? There's always counters coming at them. And I don't think San Francisco was as good at thinking on their feet as they were at playing a set comp to perfection.
See, and I would argue that Krusty's one of the smartest coaches in the Overwatch League. And I
Correct,
think
but he
th
doesn't have time
but
to train his team.
I think that's why you see all the different lineups because he's really putting a lot of true thought into what he's trying to do, but sometimes the team just doesn't perform, you know what I mean?
I'm not as worried about the lineups. I think the lineups are fine. I think they did field a different lineup this week that I think was a better look for what the meta was. And I think he's trying to I think Krusty's trying to evaluate every player in game and to decide on who needs to play when.
No Sinatra
But
this week.
yeah, there was no Sinatra. But either way, I think San Francisco has to prove to me that they can play in multiple different metas and win against good teams.
Yeah. And it's two different styles of thinking. Like it's on the fly thinking and then it's perfecting one comp thinking, and
Right.
the two skills, are could be definitely stronger and weaker for many. And I don't know, it's been exciting though. I will say that. Like without the bands, we wouldn't have had this much excitement. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. There's more like equality in the league, I guess. Not equality. You still know which teams are better and which teams are struggling. Like even in
But it's more any
Houston's
given Sunday now.
yes, but
There's
even
like
in
a
it
more parity.
Yep.
yeah, even in Houston's best meta, they would still struggle and pull out a win, I think, against a team like Philly, right? Like if it was Doomfist Dive, I think Houston would have a chance against Philly. But if it was Double Shield May McCree and we were playing Blase, I'd say no, never. Right? Like it just gives it a little bit more excitement.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, definitely, if we had had another, season of goats, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. So it's definitely been better. But is there any other games or points you guys wanted to jump on before we move on?
I'm good.
I think I'm good too.
Go Houston.
Go Houston. All right, so let's quickly talk about the new bans. So this was interesting. And I mean, like, May kind of got banned as well because Reinhardt got banned. But the bans for this week is Widowmaker, McCree. Again, it's the second time we've had those two DPS. Then Reinhardt and Brigitte. And Brigitte was banned not last week, but the week before that.
McCree's
Right,
fun
so-
to play in comp. That's why he's banned.
In week 5, it was Widowmaker, McCree, Ryan, and Moira.
Interesting.
So I think it's interesting to see, by the way, that's when Houston beat Paris in week 5. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Well, I mean, not
But-
having Ryan really slows down your ability to play May. You could do it with the Sigma Orisa, but it's not as effective.
Yeah, I mean, I think it opens up a little bit more of the maybe not full dive, but the like Doomfist and Tracer, Sombra with
Monkey. Can we see some monkey action?
I don't know.
Anybody
I
have
think
banana?
You still have May, so I don't think you're going to see much Wrecking Ball except Chengdu.
The only
But-
thing I'm
Go
just
ahead.
wondering because if Lucio's in, I think Lucio still being in is going to help dive a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm not concerned. I'm thinking we may see people just because it's what they've run for the last couple weeks. They just stick with Reaper or Torbjorn and just say, "Cool, dive us." Like
There might
we
be
have-
people, but there's also going to be people that saw Decay and Dante's success on Tracer and be like, well, you know, like San Francisco. They're like, well, but they don't. Oh, they do play. San Francisco would be
Can
like, we have Striker. You know,
Can
like
we talk about Surefour switching to Tracer and just getting like mauled by Dante behind the
we could have if
like,
you would have brought that
behind
up.
the building and then putting
Earlier.
a question mark in chat of like, huh?
How did that just
What just
happen?
happened?
Yeah, he tried to switch to Tracer and, you know,
No,
Lane,
don't do that.
his real name's Lane. Lane, you need to stay in your lane. Tracer's not it. But we're talking
I
about
hope we see some more dive. I hope we don't see double shield. I think that going Orisa Sigma is a coward move. Don't do it. I think there are teams that are showing that they won't do it though. And that they know that's not their best comp. And they
I
can
think
spend the week figuring out how to beat Torb Reaper. And
yeah, I
they can.
think without the Brig, I think you have a real good chance to see dive. I mean, your other option is Moira, who can get away from the dive really fast. But like I think we're gonna see a lot of dive this next weekend.
I think we still might see some Orisa and Diva.
Oh yeah, we're definitely
And
for sure going to
I think
see
we'll
it.
see Orisa, Diva, Lucio, Anna, and then I think we'll see like Doomfist, Sombra, Tracer. This is just a pipe dream, but that's what I hope. I see.
I mean, I'm hoping for it. It'll be weird though because the game schedule is completely different. Well, we're back to like weekday Overwatch.
Yeah, that leads us into the next thing. Mel, why don't you tell us what's the weird schedule is for this week?
So this week we have 2 games on Thursday. We have the Atlanta Reign and Washington Justice, and then the Battle for LA with the Gladiators and Valiant. Then we have 3 games on Friday. Mayhem versus Paris, Boston versus Toronto, and Dallas versus San Francisco. Then on Saturday and Sunday, we have 2 games each, and those are the Chinese games.
And those are the 1 a.m. and 3 a.m.
Okay,
Pacific time.
Chinese
games.
slash Korean games. I feel like I shouldn't just say Chinese games because now they have other people playing over there.
True.
But
This
this
weekend, it's all
actually is
Chinese
just the
games.
Chinese games. So Chengdu versus Guangzhou. We've got Shanghai versus Hangzhou Spark. We've got Charge versus Spark. I'm just gonna say, yeah, I can't do Hangzhou. It's just not. It doesn't work. We've got Charge versus Spark, and then the last game on Sunday is the Hunters versus the Dragons. So 2 games on Thursday, 3 games on Friday. Those are all your NA games. Okay, so Saturday and Sunday, sleep in so you can watch the games late night in the Chinese region.
I know, like, I'm usually good for the 1 a.m. one, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm gonna go to bed, and
I feel like when they come on, I'm like, oh crap, I need to go to bed. Like,
I watch map 1 of the second Chinese game. I'm like, okay, how is this
Ugh.
gonna be like a fun game, or is this just gonna be a mess? And if it's a mess, I'm like,
Is
cool.
it
going to
Chengdu?
bed.
You have to stay up.
And
Yeah.
always the casters are like, uh, we're here, we're asleep.
Whoa, what's
Well,
happening?
I love
Hey.
because Wolf and Achilles were like super professional about it, like super straightforward, awesome on it. And then that first week when Brent and Sideshow did it, Brent, you could tell was so grumpy to even be up at that time of night. Like, yeah,
and
whatever.
then
I have no idea what the hell is going on.
Achilles was like, oh, thank God. What's up? Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. But so yeah, like Achilles was like, hey, it's daytime. And we're casting. Oh man. Okay, so go
You
ahead.
go.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say I'm enjoying the casting from there. I am happy that they're rotating people, so it's not just like one team getting burned out every Saturday and Sunday night.
Do you notice Uber and Mr. X are always on NA?
I'm very sure that they know that what they have with Uber and X, they are like the big duo they're trying to put all their money into keeping. I'm very sure that's why they
I
didn't
feel I feel bad for equality in the workplace, but sorry guys, you're in entertainment and Uber and Mr. X. I mean, Uber is the star of the Overwatch League casters. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. You're muted. There you go.
there she is.
I love Uber. But Mr. X, he's got some great one-liners. Like
Sure.
his whole one like this last week with the Houston game, he's like, is he invisible or something? I don't understand what's happening. Like when Dante's on Tracer and he's like just literally murdering everyone and nobody's even looking at him.
There's a bit in that game too with like against Toronto where Uber made this said something. It's like, and now like they throw the lamp. Now Dante's gonna be in a shower with them, and like X goes, "Wait, what?" And like, like
Yeah.
Uber just keeps going.
They complement each other very well.
Yeah, I would imagine because when we were talking about casters coming back, that was honestly like the one duo I think everyone was very concerned about.
Yep.
So,
And I do miss Monty. I definitely miss Monty. But, you know, he had to do what he had to do. I just needed Uber to stay. If Uber and
Yes.
Monty left, it would have been just, it would have been such a
It would have been
bummer.
rough. Yeah,
But-
for sure.
Let's go ahead and end the show out with predictions. Okay, so Atlanta Rain versus Washington Justice.
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Gladiators versus Valiant.
See, I'm liking the Valiant a lot right now, and I really want them to win. But I think that the Gladiators take it.
Yeah, I think with the Widow McCree out, I think Gladiators take it.
OG Bird Ring Space is too good. Not to mention Shaz and Big Goose.
I'm gonna have to go Gladiators too. What about the Florida Mayhem versus the Paris Eternal?
Paris. I mean, Paris is down XC though, but Widow and McCree are out, so whatever.
Well, and it's not like Florida's going to play Saya player anyway. So
Yeah, Paris.
I think Paris.
Boston Defiant.
Listen, Defiant, this is like Houston's game against Boston last week. If you lose this, you're totally screwed. This is a must win. I picked Defiant.
I want to pick Boston. I really do. I just can't find a way because Jerry's carry heroes are both out too. I mean,
Yeah.
his Hanzo is good, but I think Toronto takes it.
Yeah.
Bob, do you have any hope about the Dallas Fuel beating San Francisco this coming week?
I think Krusty's going to be smart enough to prepare them for Dallas's game. He's going to know exactly what characters Doa and Decay are good on. I think that if he's smart, he plays Striker up against Decay's Tracer. And Decay right now looks like maybe one of the best Tracers we've ever seen. But will he be that against Striker? I don't know. I gotta pick San Francisco.
Right. Like he's a good
No,
tracer.
forget that.
against a
No.
Valiant.
I'm picking Dallas. I'm actually, now that I think about it, Krusty's gonna overthink this. And Dallas is just gonna come out and do some goofy shit, just like they've done the last 2 weeks. Like Arrow's finally just unbuttoning the suit collar, and he's like, "Yeah, we're just gonna play, guys." So yeah, Dallas wins. You guys?
I'm gonna go with Shock.
I can see a world in which Super gets overbrained and
Listen, I guess my whole theory about San Francisco is imploding finally
Super
is maybe coming true.
Is Super even gonna play?
he's played the last couple times.
Yeah, but is he gonna play this week with no Reinhardt?
True. They might just have some marathon.
True. Yeah.
I still
So
give it to San Francisco.
Gamsu, note, one of the best Monkey Diva combos that we've ever seen in the Overwatch League seasons 1, 2, and 3.
That is true. We haven't watched this. We haven't seen San Francisco ever play dive. They've never needed to, but like we've never seen them play dive recently. So, you know what? I'm with you, Bob. I think Dallas Fuel are gonna take it.
Mel?
I owe you this one at least.
No, I said Shock.
All right. Clip it.
And for me to pick Shock, that is
All right, so now
student in spite of you.
the harder ones, Chinese meta.
Flip a coin.
Guangzhou
only-
Charge versus Chengdu Hunters.
Chengdu.
So,
100%.
yeah, I think Chengdu wins.
My heart is telling me Chengdu, but my mind's telling me Guangzhou. So I'm going Guangzhou.
Stupid mind.
What about the Shanghai Dragons versus the Hangzhou Spark?
I think we have to give it to Shanghai.
Yeah,
Same.
definitely.
Shanghai looks too good.
Spark versus Charge?
That's a coin flip if I ever had one.
I think Charge
Spark?
won it. I think Charge win it. They won last time, and I don't know how much. Yeah, I think Charge win it.
I would agree with you too.
I go Spark. You guys suck.
It depends.
And
If Gushwei gets to play Monkey, Spark win.
yeah, well, Gushwei probably can play Monkey.
If he gets to play Monkey, then Spark win. If actually, what am
Little
I thinking?
primal
Charge
blade.
beat the Spark 3-2 last time they played.
Spark are gonna win because Happy can't play Widowmaker or McCree. Spark win.
You just changed my mind, and with the Gushwei on Monkey, yeah, you just changed. I'm going Spark too.
Or you could have just gone with my gut feeling the whole time. God.
Well, he made good points. Your gut feeling doesn't do anything for me.
It does. It makes very good points in its gut.
Chengdu Hunters versus the Shanghai Dragons.
Dragons.
Chengdu.
I
It's
still,
Dragons.
I still have to give it to.
110%.
I have to give it to Dragons. I would
No.
love for Chengdu to win, but I got to give it to Dragons.
Whatever. Dragons are going to be like, what is this? Why are you throwing that at me?
All right, guys. Well, it has been a show. It's been quite a long show too.
Hmm.
It's how it goes if you get me or Ednar in a podcast. We tend to go long.
Or Frito or Labasco. Pretty much, if we have a guest, the show's going long. It's usually
Fair enough.
It's usually because I mean that's a good thing because the guest usually has a lot of stuff saved up they want to say. You know what I mean? Like they're not doing it here with us weekly, so it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. All right, guys, we're gonna close out the show. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at @AlRecap. If you want to send us an email, it's contact@alrecap.com. You can find us streaming on Twitch Monday nights normally, but follow us on Twitch and you'll be able to know exactly when we're streaming on twitch.tv/AlRecap. I said follow us on Twitter and we will tweet it out. If you want to join our Discord, it's discord.me/OmnicLab. We had a game night this last weekend. It was a blast. It was a community-driven game night. The actual Omnic Lab game night will be on Friday, the 24th of this month. So if you want to come to that, do because it's a lot of fun. iTunes reviews. We need iTunes reviews. We haven't had one in a long time, or maybe Mel hasn't checked in a long time, but
I check.
we haven't had one in a long time. So it's a free way to support the show. Please do so. And with that, I think we're about ready to close it out. Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch.
That's it.
That's it.
And Ramses, where can we find you? Feel free to plug whatever you would like to plug, sir.
Thank you. You can find me on Twitter at Ramses_OW. You can find my show at Push.Pod. We release every Tuesday. And we have our normal episode, and we also have a 1-year celebratory episode with Ja that's coming out on Thursday, which is gonna be really fun.
That I was
Initially-
supposed to be on. God dang it.
Bob, it was Easter Sunday. No worries. We'll do another episode with both Bob and John in the next couple weeks. We'll consider it part of the celebration still. But yeah, we were gonna have John for like a 20-minute segment, and we ended up talking for 40 minutes before we covered any actual Overwatch League stuff. So we figured probably be best to like I have learned the lesson finally of you cut it and you make that another episode.
And if you would have had me on there, it would have been an hour and a half because me and Ja, we are the old Watchpoint radio crew. We can go back and forth forever.
Oh, dude, that's my favorite thing now is just letting Ja crap on something for like a half hour just to be like, I enjoyed this part, but everything else about this is really frustrating.
Yeah, Ja and I were a really great team, and Overwatch 2 comes out, maybe Watchpoint Radio 2 comes out. You never know.
We'll see. We'll have to do the Blizzard strategy of just hoping that Overwatch 2 saves everything for us.
Did you say where you could find you guys on Twitter and stuff?
Yep, at Push.Pod and on iTunes, Spotify, whatever podcast catcher you use at Push the Point.
All right. And you can always find us on every podcast catcher. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on YouTube. Thank you so much. I am BlazzinBob. You can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. Thank you guys. And
Bye.
to everyone, good night.
Later.